Well, what am I doing today, you might ask? Well, this is overhoof. Some of you may know that, but this is my 97 Mustang that sat in a field for 10 years that I'm actually building an LS swap for it. And over the past few weeks and few months, I've been acquiring parts so that way I can do some more of the build to get this thing ready to accept the LS swap. And here is my LS block. It is just a bare block right now because I've torn it apart because, if we rewind, that's over there. Right here is the crankshaft that I pulled out of it because it's toast. It's got some bad journals. So the block's bare. I've tore it down, I cleaned it, I bagged it up. But I have a surprise over here. I've got another crank in the bag. So the crank is about to be out of the bag. But I'll go ahead and tell you what I've done. I've got very limited budget on this, like most people, so I acquired another crank to put in this. And it's probably not a crank that I ever thought that I would find, but I came across it. I was able to trade for it, which is the only reason that I have it. But I found an LS1 gun-drilled crankshaft that I'm going to be putting in the LS in place of the other one. So I'm going to change a few things on it so that way I can run that crank. I know a lot of people will just have the full send mode mentality and just put it together and send it. I'm going to do that to an extent, but not entirely. I'm going to change a little bit of the other components to hopefully make it last longer. It'll probably run if I threw it together, but I want this thing to last. I have some front suspension work that I want to take place first. I technically could weld in the LS mounts to this K-member, but I want to have some more clearance for headers and whatnot. So I don't know if you saw, I have a tubular K-member I'm going to swap out video. So I have this tubular K-member that I'm going to put in it, but when I acquired it, I got a really good deal on it. This is an aftermarket K-member that does not have spring perches, so I had to find a set of coilovers. I recently found a set of coilovers. There was a couple short videos on my YouTube that you might have saw. This is actually what I went to pick up that day, so that way I could run this. And I'm going to work on getting this ready today to accept that, so that way I can get the engine mocked up and get my LS mounts built. And then actually down here in a box, I have that I got, you know, I'm not sure sometime. A set of LS mounts for the block and some weld-in mounts to weld them on whatever pedestals I choose to weld in and fabricate. So this is what I've got to accept the LS motor. I've had those. These bolt right to the LS. And yeah, you probably know how it works, but that's what we're looking at. And now I didn't reveal too much of the setup in the earlier videos, but now that I've gotten to this point and I've kind of revealed everything, I'm kind of going to share a little bit more of the setup that I'm planning to run on this, only because I acquired it, I traded for some of it, and the little stuff that I needed I ordered on sites like eBay and some other places, Evil Energy. And right here beside the bad crank is a good set, but these are A53 LS1 Corvette heads. I got them from a gentleman who pulled them off his 2005 Corvette because he upgraded his heads. In another box here that I ordered last year that I've had on hand is a box of aftermarket valve springs. Now this is where things get a little hairy in the build because some things happened that I did not plan. I ordered those springs and they were supposed to be an OEM spec for an LS3 cam, which is what I wanted to find. I went on the hunt for an LS3 camshaft and I happened to find one, or the eBay listing said it was out of a 2014 SS Camaro manual, which was supposed to be this cam right here. But whenever I received it after the eBay purchase, I realized it was not the same cam. It wasn't even in the same box as the listing, so I thought, what in the world? So I checked the numbers on the end of this cam with the listing, and it was completely different. And I was like, what the heck? Why did he send me a different cam in a different box? So I thought maybe they're the same, so I went ahead and filed a grievance. He gave me my money back, but he told me to keep the cam. And at first I was like, why would he tell me to keep the cam? So I checked the numbers on this cam, and I was blown away to find out it's actually an LS9 camshaft. Yeah, one that came out of the supercharged LS motor. Now, I technically can run this with a few caveats. I'm going to take a little bit and give a little bit, but as long as I'm okay with that, I technically can run this. And what gets hairier is the aftermarket valve springs that I initially ordered that were supposed to be for an LS3. When I checked those specs, they're not for an LS3. LS3s have about 98 pounds of seat pressure. These have about 113 pounds of seat pressure, which will actually work better with an LS9 camshaft. So to say I definitely had a little bit of a Frankenstein build is probably an understatement, but I'm doing this on a budget. I'm trying to use what I have, and the little things that I need to make it work, I'll just order. I'm finding that's cheaper so far. So to sum it up, I've got what was originally a 4.8 or 5.3 block. I'm using the LS1 crankshaft, but I'm going to use 5.3 rods, and it still has the sock bores of 5.3 and 4.8. So I'm going to use flat top 4.8 pistons with the LS9 camshaft, LS1 heads. I acquired this from my brother, so shout out to him. If it was not for him, I would not have been able to make this happen, but I had to acquire everything. It was just a bare intake. So I ordered the fuel rails for the LS2, the injectors, the fuel lines, and I found an aftermarket 92mm throttle body, because it is a 4-bolt, not a 3-bolt. And I'm doing all this so that way I can run Gen 3 electronics. Now, I have a couple transmissions, but we're going to worry about that later. I've got some other things that I need to work on before I get to the transmissions, because I still got a little bit before I get the engine assembled and get it mocked up. But here in a couple weeks, I'm hoping to get a manual transmission that I can throw in this. I've been in some negotiations. I'll let you know. Let's talk Mustangs for a moment, because 94 to 98 Mustangs, and well, actually 99 to 04 Mustangs, on some aspects, they could all be wrapped into one category with the exception of some body parts. But most of the suspension parts, they're all interchangeable, even with the older Fox bodies. All the suspension parts will interchange, you can upgrade and whatnot. There's so many things that you can do aftermarket with these cars. You know, sometimes they won't come and you got to put a little fire to them. Some of you probably know what that is. That's the bolt for the steering shaft, so I've got that loose and pulled off there. So when I loosen all this, I can get out. I've got the sway bar loose. I'll have to knock it up off there, and then I'll loosen these, loosen the bolts. Of course, I'll drop the springs out so they don't come out and kill me. So if you're working on a Mustang anywhere from 94 to 04, and you need to know what size these two nuts are, I've got a 15/16 here, and it fits it perfectly. Put this on here. I may need to get a wrench. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, there. Well, because I've seen what happens when you don't. And then when you have it out, it should look something like that. There we go. There's one spring right there. I'm running a different K-member one, and I'm not just going to slap it together. I may just toss a coilover up in there because I am going to use those, but all that stuff there on the bottom I'm going to change out. And I still got one other side over here to do. We'll get this side knocked out. Good morning, guys. It is the next day. I took a little break from overhoof this morning. I worked pretty late last night until dark, finishing up some stuff, and this morning is our local Cars and Coffee. So periodically I like to go down there, have some coffee, see some cars, talk to some people. It's a little chilly this morning, so I'm not really too anxious at getting back to work just yet, but I've got a little bit more work that I could do on it before I got to get some more parts. So I'm still working on that video right now. So let's go to Cars and Coffee, shall we? All right, so where did we leave off with overhoof? I was recording the other day, it got dark. My camera stopped recording because it got full, but it was already dark, so I went ahead and completed some things because I was already in it, and I wanted to get some work done on it. I've been working hard. I need to show some progress. I want to show you what I've did so far. So after dark the other night, I got the old K-member out. The lower A-arms are still on it. I technically could use the A-arms for this. I'm intending to use some tubular lowers for the front here. Plus the ball joints, and these are a little worn out. Power steering pump and the power steering rack. My goal is to run a manual rack and pinion, maybe some manual brakes, we'll see, give me some more room back there. That's undecided yet. But just from sitting, this thing is kind of dirty. You see from the weather, the rain, the snow, and the ice, it's just gotten dirty. So today I'm gonna power wash it. So the goal today is just get it power washed, get it cleaned up. So I got some more spots on there I need to paint. I've got a little battery operated power washer that we're gonna use, but you have to have your own water. If you've ever seen one of these, they're actually pretty cool. Has its own hose, you just drop it in some water, bam. There you go. Now, I'm not quite ready to start assembling the engine just yet. I still got to get some engine bearings, some main bearings, rod bearings, and I have to get some different rods. And if you know anything about LS's, the 4.8 rods are longer than the 5.3 and 5.7 rods, and because I'm going to run a Gen 3 LS1 crankshaft, I'm a bit hesitant about running the Gen 4 rods because they are a little heavier. And I know some of you out there have already ran Gen 4 rods on Gen 3 cranks and just send it, and maybe you get lucky, maybe you don't get lucky. I don't know if I want to risk that or not. Some of this stuff is just going to be a send mode, so I don't want to just send everything. So my plan is to get some Gen 3 rods, Gen 5.3 rods, and use them with the 4.8 flat top pistons, because the bore is still stock. I'm not going to bore it out anymore, and I don't want to use the 5.3 dish pistons. I want a flat top to use with the LS1 Corvette heads, because I got a set of LS1 Corvette heads off an 05 Corvette. So about a week ago, I goofed up. I was playing on Copart, not paying attention, and yeah, I ended up with a car. I explained how it happens. I'm gonna touch base on it here a little bit, but yeah, I understand how accidents happen now. So I bought a car, and it's supposed to be here today. I got a call from the driver a couple hours ago saying about what time he was going to be here. So I haven't revealed it yet, but I'll show you guys when it gets here. It's nothing special. It was not even the car that I wanted. I was bidding on a different car, but they canceled that auction. So when they do that, they cancel the bids and they move it to a different auction. But I didn't get the bid on that car. So there was a car that came up like, well, I'll go ahead and bid on it. It was really cheap. I got the car extremely cheap, which is the only reason I did it. I bid once, and then another person outbid me. And I said, fine, I don't want the car. I didn't even want the car, I was just playing around. But be careful with your cursor, because if it's in the wrong spot and you accidentally bump it, and the other person doesn't outbid you, you end up with a car, and that's what happened. I ended up with a car. If you've never been on Copart, this is what you can expect to see when you sign up, become a member, and get into a live auction. Some of these auctions can only last literally 30 seconds. Some of them a minute, some of them just a few minutes. They go really fast. So right now they're selling this 2008 Honda Civic. Says it has some front end damage, and right now the bid's at $1,600. Sold! And it sold for $1,650. So here it is. Today's Monday. Now, if you've ever done a build or done a YouTube video for building something for YouTube, just know that today's Monday, and I started working on this several days ago. It usually takes a few days to get something done with schedules, work, time, and whatnot. So today's Monday, and I've gotten some work done on overhoof. I showed that I'd gotten the K-member bolted in, the coilovers, and I went ahead and took the stock rack and just kind of stuck it up in there. Now this aftermarket K-member has threaded threads inside it to screw a bolt into, and these bolts are the right threads, but you see they're a bit longer because they bottom out. But what I can do to make this work is I can cut this here, and then I still have the nuts that came off of the original rack. I can put the nuts on there and tighten it down. That's another way you could do it. Or I can just go find some bolts that are the right length. But I may end up doing it that way. Now, you probably heard me say that I'm not going to use this rack and pinion. I'd like to use a manual rack. And you're like, well, why is it in there? Well, if you also look, I don't have any motor mounts here, and I'm planning to LS swap this, so I'm going to build my own mounts. And you probably guessed it, yes, I need to know how much clearance I need to build the new LS mounts with that rack in there. So I've got it in there for mock-up, so I know where to weld in my mounts to accept the LS motor. And then when I'm done, I can simply just unbolt it and bolt in a new manual rack. Yeah, I bought a Kia. So we're gonna dub this the Copart Kia. And it fits, it rhymes, so. This is a really, really cheap car, and we're trying to unload it. So we're gonna see if I can rebuild this. This is my first ever purchase off Copart. Copart says that it starts, but I don't know. This is the car that I bought. It got delivered a short time ago. We can look at here. This was my car that I bought, that I didn't intend to buy. It was the accidental purchase because I had my cursor over the bid, and I bumped it a second time, and then no one else bid, so I ended up with it. But we're gonna try and fix it and see what happens. We're gonna need an airbag. Copart says that it runs and the transmission engages, so we're gonna see. Looks like it's got 155,000 miles on it. But just to show you, go to lots one. I want to show you this fee right here. This is what I paid overall after everything. This was with shipping. I paid about $150 shipping, but I won the auction for $450. That's all I paid for the car. So all of the rest of these are fees. So you do the math. And if you're considering buying a vehicle on Copart, I want to share some information with you that will just help you out in the future, so that way you kind of know what you're dealing with. Because if once you get a vehicle from an auction, it's probably going to have a salvage title, which means it can be converted to a rebuilt title, but there's some forms that you have to obtain and fill out first. In the state of Texas, you would get what's called the Rebuilt Vehicle Statement, or otherwise known as the VTR 61 form. And this is all the information that you would put on there for the vehicle, the information. It's very important that you keep track of everything as far as receipts and parts used. You want to list all of that, and you're going to take this with you to apply for the rebuilt title. And one more caveat before you do that, don't just run off and do that. Before you can submit this, you need to go and have a vehicle inspection report done at a vehicle inspection station. So you got to schedule it, take the vehicle in, have them inspect it. They're going to give you an authorization code, or a code that you put on this form that says that the vehicle was inspected and it passed. Without that, no go. So make sure you do that first. Make sure you fill out the VTR-61. If you're ever thinking about buying an auction vehicle here in the state of Texas, if you didn't know, now you do. So here she is, folks, the Copart Kia. No, the Copart Kia does not start yet. We tried to jump it off, but you can see the battery. It's looking a little ill. But we're gonna try to get it started. I know we've been distracted from overhoof for a moment, but we'll get back to that. I need to know if this thing at least starts and runs, and then whether or not this thing was a waste of time and a waste of money. Hopefully not. Let's get some stuff. Let's see if we can get it started up. All right, so we've thrown the battery charger on it for a few minutes. We're gonna see if it will take a charge. It's charging, but it's not showing any voltage yet. This battery might be toast, but if this will not take a charge, this smart charger will tell me. So we'll let it sit for a few minutes, and I'll have to decide if I need to get another battery or not. While we're waiting, let's see if we what we got in here. Let us know. Well, there's still cooling in there. That's good. That's a good sign. And while that's sitting there waiting, see if it's going to take a charge, let's check out the Copart Kia. It is a 2012 model. It only had about 155,000 miles on it before the accident. That just happened a little bit ago from us moving it. It looks like someone was enjoying a tasty treat when this happened. So obviously the airbag deployed. We'll have to get an airbag. But the door panels are in fairly nice shape. It's just a little dirty from them snacking, I guess. See how much room this thing has in it. We have a It is electronic, so there's no key. So it has to have power. I'm not sure why we have two badges. Look here, there's two of them. There's one there and there's one there. And there's the 6-year-old. What do you think of the new ride, Rose? A new project. Did you look on the inside yet? I gotta have a battery hooked to it, but it's charging. But the fender, the door still opens, that's good. So yeah, it popped our airbag. It let the smoke out of the airbag. So we'll have to get a new airbag that has the smoke inside of it. And hopefully not let it out. And see if the headline, the headliner's in decent shape, that's good. I think we could save this car. It does have a few unforeseen things that were damaged that I didn't account for, but they're not major. I still think it's a fixable car. So the news is probably bad. This battery, this has been on a charger for a little bit, and it is not taking a charge. But we got a backup plan. We've got some jumper cables, and I've got the spark over here. And we're gonna use some of the spark from this battery to throw some spark over to this battery, and hopefully we can get the engine to spark and fire up. But that's what we're gonna do right now. So, we gotta hook these here somehow. Well look, the wipers are working, that's good. Okay, ooh, we are lit up. All right, so we got a dome light, that's good. Turn that off. We are all lit up, which is good. This thing's got a full tank of gas in it? We're gonna try and start it up. It's trying to turn. Oh, there it goes again. Yeah! Yes! Yes! It's running! Yes!